also, I take on board that you asked me to call you. I'll do that. Let's make sure when I'm sharing. Okay. So we're going to get right into it. I'm live on YouTube, and I'm going to be sharing tonight about monitoring your efforts. This is day 5 of a 5-day series. So if you're new here, or it's the first time you're hearing from me, I'm Vee Roberts of Insight to Marketing. I'm not going to bore you actually with all of my kind of history and how long I've been in the industry and who I've worked with and the brands that I've partnered with, etc. But if you check out day 1 through to day 2 and 3, you'll see that I'm actually confidently talking about my experience and the types of people that I work with, and also how I can support business owners. So that's not what this is about. This is actually not about me promoting myself, but I thought that within days 1 to 3, it would be quite nice to give people who are not familiar with my brand the opportunity to find out a bit more about me. So I'm assuming you already know who I am, okay? 29 years in the industry, worked for 16 of those years as an employee, doing all of the things that I now teach business owners to do and getting my employers results. Campaign planning, brand building, strategic marketing, the whole shebang, sponsorship, events, PR. And in the capacity that I'm in, I'm actually working in a more fractional capacity, but I do also do coaching. I have a book, and of course I am also someone that gets paid to train and gets paid to speak. So tonight is all about monitoring your efforts. Now, if you're a business owner, it's quite likely that you are not necessarily conscious of the impact of not monitoring your efforts, okay? And this is not to sound like an attack, but I know that a lot of business owners do not monitor or track their success on their marketing efforts, whether it's online, whether it's offline. If you've spent money on printing flyers, you don't find that many business owners will go away and say, oh, I spent £700, what did I get back? If you go to an event and you exhibit for £900, there's not many business owners that will say, oh, well, I actually spent £900. How many leads did I generate? How many calls did I book in? And then there'll be business owners that will say, oh, I hosted an event, right? And I spent £3,000 on an event. What kind of feedback did I get? What did I actually get back from clients? Or what did I get back from people who might actually be interested in working with me in terms of gauging their level of interest? Yeah. So if you're not monitoring those kinds of things, that's why it's good for you to tune in today. So today I'm talking about evaluating your branding and marketing. On day 1 of this series, by the way, we spoke about time and budget management. On day 2, we spoke all about branding and messaging. On day 3, we spoke about offline marketing. Day 4, yesterday, we spoke all about online marketing. Yeah, anything that involves the internet, your phone, a smart device, all of that good stuff. But today we're talking about monitoring and evaluating your efforts. And if you are familiar with my little graphic that I've been sharing over the last few weeks, and also the one that I shared yesterday, then you'll know that the relationship between branding and marketing is that it helps you to grow your business. And without branding and marketing, you can't possibly expect to sell or make money. And some of you might think, well, I'm not doing branding and marketing, but I'm still making sales. And that's great. But do you know that a lot of business owners don't actually think about what branding and marketing actually is? Like the other day, I was speaking to someone, this week in fact, and they said, oh, I don't really do branding and marketing. I go along to events though, and I do networking. And I was like, well, that is marketing. That is you getting offline, speaking to people, right? And I've spoken to other people that have said, oh, I don't really do branding and marketing. I've got a flyer and I've got a banner. I've got an electronic QR code. Yes, that's branding and marketing. Okay? So wherever your logo is displayed, or wherever you have positioned your website address or your ebook, whether you want to accept it or not, that is marketing. And actually, I'm going to say, to add on to that, if you are spending money on branding and marketing, yeah, if you've got your brand in the limelight, you need to make sure that you are considering what you're getting back from your return on investment. And I did speak about this before, right? So I want to share with you at the start of today, because I know that some of you have already reached out, you've got the link, you're making your arrangements. I'm doing a 4-week sprint of coaching support. Okay, it's a focused 4-week experience to help you grow your visibility and make sure that you're attracting the right audience and also taking consistent action, working at a pace that suits you and working with me as your coach within a supportive community. Okay, we're going to be having coaching calls that you can watch on demand. There's going to be accountability sessions and action planning and also step-by-step guidance, which is shared through me and my demos that I'll be doing live, as well as my pre-recorded demos. And you'll also get access to practical tools and templates. Now, if you're interested, I did have 2 ladies come through today and they were like, oh, is the early bird still on? The early bird has actually finished. But if you are watching this on Friday, the 24th of July, which is the time of me recording this, if you get in touch with me today, I will honor that early bird still. But as from Saturday the 25th, the early bird is finished, because I don't normally do extensions. I'm just aware that some of you may have not had the time to coordinate your affairs. So I'm sharing this graphic. It's not on my website. It's not in many places. If you're watching this video now, or you're listening in on the podcast, or you're listening in or someone shared this with you, just know that the early bird ends now officially on the 24th of July at midnight. Okay, so once you get to 12:05 a.m. on the 25th of July, it's the standard rate. Okay, I'm sharing that with you from now, and I'm sharing it at the beginning for those of you who may not be aware of what the offer is at the moment. So, and I'm saying this explicitly, this is an offer. Okay, whilst I've always loved to give tips and always been notorious for giving out free advice, and that's traced back to 2013 when I started my business on £100. I've always given free advice, complimentary tips, complimentary ebooks, complimentary events even. But actually, I'm going to say transparently, there are some of you that need help that have not actually reached out for help because you thought that you could do it on your own. There are some of you that haven't been getting your sales come in. Maybe you've had a trickle, but you want consistent sales. Or some of you have wanted to host your first event, or launch your YouTube channel, or start using email marketing, or start creating better content. This 4-week sprint is your time to do that. Okay, so let's get right into this. All right, so let's talk about this. We are looking now at how you can actually measure and evaluate what it is you're doing. So point number 1, if you're with me on YouTube, you'll see the slide at the same time. Point number 1, we need to make sure you're evaluating your sales. So you can let me know in the comments, are you evaluating your sales? I recently asked in my Instagram community, are people aware of where their last 10 sales come from or came from? And I'm going to ask you that. If you're watching now on Instagram, are you aware? And if you're watching live with me on YouTube, are you aware of where your last 10 sales come from? Like if you've even had someone buy something on your e-commerce store, if you've even had someone that said to you, oh, I want to buy this, but, I need to find out a bit more. Where have those leads and inquiries come from? It's very important that we understand this. So are you aware? Let me know in the comments, right? You have to be able to evaluate where your sales come in. But also, I'm going to say, if you're getting inquiries as well, you should also be mindful of where your leads are coming in. So if someone emails you and you've never spoken to them before, if someone says to you, can I find out more about your book? And you've never spoken to them before, I want you to start measuring that. So one of the ways you can do that is to ask people, how did you hear about me? Yeah. May I ask how you found out about my business? Yeah. You mentioned earlier that somebody gave you my details. Do you know who that was? Can you remember who that was? Oh, you said you saw my flyer somewhere. Can you remember the event where you saw my flyer? So what you're doing there is you're evaluating that if you're getting leads from maybe 2 or 3 people within your community, you might want to reward them. You might want to say thank you. You're evaluating that if you've gone along to an event and you've had lots of people message you as a result, or you've had lots of website hits as a result, you're able to evaluate and say, okay, these 3 names have come up regularly. So I need to actually acknowledge that. Maybe I need to bring them on board as ambassadors. Maybe I need to send them a thank you e-card or a gift voucher, or send them my next complimentary sample. We need to start doing more in terms of evaluating. Yeah. So if you want to know how to evaluate and measure, what I want you to do is hop onto the YouTube page. I'm going to cut off from the Instagram now, jump over to YouTube. It's youtube.com/insight to marketing. And I'm over there sharing my tips. Okay. So in terms of the evaluation of what you're doing with regards to leads, I also want to mention website traffic. Now, I did touch on this yesterday, but I'm going to touch on it again, okay? If you want to measure how your marketing is performing and you've got a website, one of the ways that you can do that is to actually look at your website statistics. So you may have Google Analytics, you may have WordPress Analytics, you may have Shopify Analytics, whatever platform you're using, even if it doesn't have an integrated back office for you to evaluate what you're doing on your website or how your website's performing, install something that can help you to make informed decisions about your web page layout, about your web page navigation, about the design of your website, about things you may promote more of or less of based on website hits. And if you didn't catch it yesterday, what I shared was that if you are in business and you're wanting to improve the way that your website performs, you need to be doing more than just looking at, as examples, website hits. You need to be looking at unique visitors, because that's very different from website hits. Also, you want to be looking at the most popular pages, the pages that people are visiting the most, and also the least, the page people exit quickly on your website, because your analytics will tell you that. Image download times. Have you got lots of big files on your image on your website? I remember last month I was actually working with a business owner that wanted me to help with their e-commerce store, and I remember looking at it and thinking, my gosh, I haven't even seen your hero image, like the big image at the top. It was taking ages to load. So if you've got a website and you know that when you go on your own website, it takes a while for your images to come on, that is indeed an orange flag. It's something you want to address, okay? So you want to be looking at what you can do in your business to make sure that your website is performing, but also to make sure that you're understanding exactly where the traffic is coming from. Is it coming from a Facebook video that you've done? Is it coming from an Instagram live that you've done? Is it coming from Pinterest? Is it coming from Snapchat? We've got to evaluate. And if you look at your website analytics will tell you exactly where the source of traffic is. In fact, quite a lot of social media platforms will tell you. Did you know this? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching live on YouTube, good evening. I hope you're well. Give me a wave in the comments or let me know where you're watching from. We're talking tonight about evaluating your marketing, evaluating your activities, making sure that you are actually getting return on investment, making sure that you are actually seeing results. Okay, because a lot of us are doing marketing, but we're very busy and the marketing isn't giving us any results. All right, let's go on to the next thing, video views. Now, this is a bit of a sore point for those of you that like to do the pointy dancing, or you want to use trending audios, or you want to do the latest trending reel. I know at the moment, at the time of recording, the Netflix trending reel is a big one. You know the one, I don't know if you've seen it, let me know in the comments. There's a Netflix reel that's out at the moment that you can do on a trending audio, where if you want to use it in this way, you can use the Netflix audio to record a video that might be as a like a jovial post, you saying either on a jovial post or a more serious matter, getting ready to prepare for my documentary on Netflix about XYZ. Now, if you're watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about, just go onto Instagram and use the search bar and just type in Netflix trending audio and it will come up. I promise you. And you'll see there the best performing videos. I think Judy Love did a really good one on it. Shouting out Judy Love for that. And I've also seen another really good one from a friend of mine who was previously a client, Paula. She did a really good one about her granddaughter being dropped off and by one of her children. She was, unannounced and unconfirmed babysitting arrangements. Absolutely hilarious. So yeah, if you're not familiar with that, that's something you could do. But I want to share with you, vanity metrics are not really my thing. So for things like that, it's fun, it's jovial. You're building up your profile, you're getting visibility, and I think it's lovely to be able to do that. But to be more serious about building your business, sometimes you've got to mix in content that is actually converted. And that's one of the themes actually that we're going to be talking about in the 4-week sprint on the Marketing Momentum Club, okay, which starts in August. So if you want to look at how your video content's performing, you'd be looking at things like video views, click-throughs, watch times, where they've actually watched the video from. But also, if you go on a deeper layer, I mean, there's obviously more in-depth training on this within my community. But if you even wanted to go on a deeper layer, you could be looking at the times people are watching videos. You could be looking at the format of the videos that are most popular. Maybe you're recording loads of long videos that are like 5-10 minutes, but people actually want to see the videos that are like 3.5 minutes or even a minute long. Now, in terms of performance on most social media platforms, what you may not realize is that with it being, social media landscape is always changing. And I don't know how many of you know this, but I actually run a social media management agency. So I'm sharing something with you here that you might want to jot down. When you're doing your videos, depending on the platform that you're on, there are certain types of videos that perform better than others. So on YouTube, you've got YouTube Shorts, but you may also want to record longer form content. On Facebook, you've got Facebook Shorts, the same as Instagram. You've got Instagram Stories, and you can use those platforms to provide updates, offers, announcements, and it's up to you based on your analytics and what the data shows you, how you use video. Longer form content, you might do educational content. This, what I'm doing right now with you, is a form of educational content, right? And if you're loving what I'm putting down, please do like the video. It does help YouTube to understand how people find my content. And if you've got any other feedback for me on this video or the series, please do feel free to put it in the comments, or you can send me a private message, as some of you have already. But video views are really important because they do give you an indication. So if you're someone who's become consumed with, how to produce a video in landscape or how to produce really crisp and clean videos, just make sure that when you're doing all this learning, your videos are actually performing, because it's very easy to go down a rabbit hole, right? So tonight we're talking about how you can evaluate how your marketing is performing, okay? So the next thing I want to share with you is, if you're not already aware, content and social media are not the same. Yeah? Content and social media are not the same. Your content is the audio, the written, the spoken things, the videos, the blog posts, that's content. Social media is the vehicle that you choose to put your content on. Are you with me? Let me know in the comments with the number 1 if you're with me. I think a lot of gurus online have got a lot of entrepreneurs confused about content and social media. So I have to put this out, because when you're evaluating content, you're looking at performance. You're looking at how your content performs. When you're looking at social media, you're looking at the platforms. All right? You're looking at the platforms. So you're looking at the impact that your content's made, but when you're looking at the social media, you're actually looking a bit deeper than that. And the analytics will really, really help you to do that. So if you're someone who strays away from analytics, or if you're someone who hasn't really made it part of your routine to actually evaluate what you're doing, I'm going to encourage you to put a note down for yourself that before the end of July, you evaluate. Now, obviously, if you're working with me as a coaching client, one of the first things we're doing when you work with me is a branding and marketing reset. That's automatic, okay? But tonight I'm talking to any of you. So whether you're on my programs or not, whether you're doing the 4-week sprint with me on the Marketing Momentum Club or not, please make sure that you have actually made time to evaluate what you're doing, because I can't believe that we're actually in August. No, seriously, I can't believe that August is around the corner. I don't know what's happened, but time has literally flown. And in less, as of next month, in less than, let's say, 4.5 months, we're going to be looking at a new year. Am I doing my calculations right? In less than 4.5 months, as of the 1st of August, we are going to be looking at plans for the new year. And some of us haven't done much. And look, I'm not here to pressure anyone. I'm here to speak to you this evening if you know that you want more and you know that you deserve more. I'm actually here to speak to those of you this evening that maybe you've been sitting on the sidelines unsure of what you're doing or how your marketing's performing. Maybe you have been considering the ways in which you can improve your marketing, but you're not really sure how to get started. I'm talking to you, okay? And what I want you to be aware of is that when you're doing marketing, right? Marketing is not the same as branding. Marketing is not the same as advertising. Marketing is not the same as selling, although it's relevant. Our marketing is not the same as social media. All these things are different and they are actually interrelated, okay? So the next thing I want you to think about is event attendance, offline and online. If you've been attending a lot of events offline and online, I want you to think about the value you've got from those events. I want you to think about the connections that you've made at those events. I want you to consider whether or not you've actually been able to say, that was really good. I got a lot of value from exhibiting there, or I made lots of new connections from exhibiting there, because trust me when I say this, if you look back at the events you've attended since, let's say, January, and some of them might have just been spontaneous, you're going along, you're going to speak, or you're going along, you might exhibit because, it might be affordable for you. You're going to do your first, podcast event, or you're going to do your first speaking engagement, or maybe you're just going to do your first networking event. But the first is fine. You learn. We all learn lessons the first time round. But if you find that throughout this year, up until now, at the time of you listening to this recording, you've not really found the events you need, you've not really found the way to manage your leads or have a follow-up process that works, you're not really attracting sales when you go to exhibitions, but you're attending lots of exhibitions and you're spending lots of money. Is that you? Do you resonate with that? If that is you, what I would say to you is evaluate that. Yeah? Look at what's happening in your business, why you feel so compelled to attend events online and offline, but perhaps why the results aren't there. And the other one I want to share with you as we're wrapping up is advertising. Now, this is going to offend some of you, and it's not deliberate, but some of us are advertising and we don't really know what we're doing. Some of us are advertising and we're spending money on things that are actually going to end up being a waste. Some of us are paying for print ads, paying for advertisement in magazines, also even paying for event space, but we're not actually really looking at the bigger picture of how it fits into a strategy. So I'm going to say to you, evaluate what you spent. Evaluate what you spent in terms of events, full stop, and in terms of advertising, full stop. And if you spend money on ads, I want you to evaluate whether you had a process in place so that when someone saw the ad, they could take action, whether your ads actually included a call to action, and also whether you genuinely feel that that ad was worth your money. Yeah, that's what I want you to check for me today. I want you to evaluate your advertising spend. What's the total that you spent so far this year? What have you got coming up? Maybe that you've booked ads for. And where are you in terms of getting actual results from your ads? Forget about vanity metrics. Forget about vanity metrics. Even though vanity metrics are likely to, maybe longer down the line, they could convert. But if you're doing things like boosted posts, for example, there's no guarantee that someone who clicks like is going to buy. It's good that you're in their feed and that you've been able to get that like. But actually, when you're doing paid ads, it's better to do a paid ad for something that is an actual campaign. All right. So paid ads in a newspaper, paid ads in a magazine. You'd be looking at opportunities to see paid ads in a bus, on a bus, paid ads in your local magazine for parents. You got to make sure that the paid ads are actually paying you. Yeah, some of us get obsessed with paid ads and nothing is happening with these ads at all. And I want you to know this evening that as someone who has worked with business owners for 29 years, 16 of those being as an employee before I started my own business and also running my own agency as well, I could tell you now, some of us are doing ads without any real guidance, and we think on the surface it looks good, and it doesn't always look good. And I've even run ads that haven't been great. Okay, I've run ads that have helped me sell out events internationally, and I've also run ads that have been complete flops. But obviously now we have a Facebook expert within the team, so that very rarely happens because we're able to put the expert on it, and Chris does a fantastic job. So let me go on to the next point because I don't want to keep you too long. It's a Friday evening, and if you're watching this now on a Friday evening, respect to you for being here on a Friday. I'm sure there are many better things you could be doing. If you're watching live on YouTube, please say hi. Please also do engage with the video. If you're here and you're not lurking, it's always nice if you are able to engage with the post. A like doesn't cost you anything, but it also helps me to understand how the videos are performing. All right, printing and display. We're near the end, guys. Stick with me. So printing and display is something that a lot of us spend lots of money on, but some of us are doing printing and display. We've got the banners, we've got the vinyls, we've got the TV screens, but actually, is it actually working? Are you seeing the outcomes you want? Or is the box of leaflets that you printed with the date on it now stale, unusable? We have to be thinking smart. So 2 tips I would give you actually on that, which I always give to clients that I work with one-to-one and also in my groups, is try not to put dates on leaflets and posters. If you're going to do something with a long shelf life, evergreen content, try not to put dates on. And also, if you're someone that reviews your pricing once a year or twice a year, try not to put pricing on. Okay? Maybe put a QR code on to your printed literature that then goes to a pricing page, or it goes to your website or a web page. But don't state things if you're printing off 20k leaflets and you want them to last you a whole year or even 2 years. Don't state things that might change. Use a QR code. Most people know now how to scan a QR code, so it's not like rocket science if you're someone who is using QR codes or is considering QR codes. And just yesterday I spoke to someone about QR codes because they didn't really have much budget. They're a CIC and they're saying they're waiting for money to come in from funding before they go off and print their flyers and their business cards. And I said, listen, let me send you some links, because there's a QR code you could use. You could have your flyer and your business card all set up. And the individual was very grateful. And in fact, I have to celebrate him. I don't know if he's watching this tonight, but he also set up his Instagram and did all the bits and pieces that I advised him on his Instagram. So one thing I do like to do is big up and celebrate people that actually take action. And I'm telling you, I spoke to him in the evening of Wednesday, and by yesterday in the morning, he'd implemented the changes. And that makes me feel good. I didn't charge him for any of the advice. We spoke for about 25 minutes. But what I can say is he's moved many steps further as a direct result of having that interaction with me. And this is one of the benefits actually of working with me, is that I give a lot of information freely. And I know many of my clients do testify to this in my reviews, of which I have more than 1,000. Anyway, brand awareness. Brand awareness, make sure you're measuring that. Simple Google, also search yourself online. It's not egoistic to do that. You're literally monitoring how you're showing up. Okay, so make sure that you are evaluating your brand mentions. Yeah, make sure that you're thinking about how your brand is showing up consistently or not consistently. Think about that. Yeah, put the measures in place to actually see whether or not you are communicating the messaging clearly, but also what people are saying about you. Feedback forms are a great way to do that, by the way. Yeah, and then finally, as we wrap up, referrals. How are you actually using referrals in your business? Do you get referrals? And where do they come from? Remember when I said earlier, it's very important to actually consider asking people, how did you hear about my brand? You mentioned that so-and-so referred you to me. Do you remember, where that was or what event that was at? You saw my flyer at an event. Thank you so much for emailing me. What event was it? That's how you qualify how someone heard about you. With referrals, if someone says, oh, I was speaking to a friend of mine and they said they always refer Vee to people because she knows her stuff, right? I always say to people, oh, that's so kind. Do you know who it was? Because I go back and I personally thank that person. Because when you've got active referrers, it actually keeps your marketing needs lower, your advertising costs lower. Yeah? Hopefully the penny will drop there and there'll be a light bulb moment for someone on this live tonight. So make sure you understand the source of referral. In the same way that when people are visiting your website, understand the source of traffic. Two pivotal things that you need to understand as a business owner. All right, so my last slide for you this evening is make sure you understand your customers and clients. Even if someone doesn't become a customer or client, make sure that you are aware of why they want to call you, what they felt you could do for them that someone else couldn't, why they decided to email you, why they decided to connect with you by phone or book in a discovery call. Why? Yeah, what's their needs and motivations? What are their interests? What are the commonalities between the types of people that actually connect with you, buy your programs, buy your book, book you to speak, invite you to their events? What are the common threads? Because when you work that out, it makes your marketing much easier because you can make informed decisions. So I'm going to wrap up now because I don't want to go over time. But what I will say to you is, as a reminder, this 5-day series is a complimentary series to just give you like a surface level, what I would call surface level experience with me in terms of some of the things that I teach within my community. Now, in August, I'm running 4 weeks of coaching support via the Marketing Momentum Club. Obviously, if you're watching this after August, then you can find out about what I've got coming up afterwards. But what I would say to you is, if you need help and you know you need help, don't wait till September. Don't wait till September. If you know you need help, get the help now. Express an interest now. Whether it's one-to-one, as some of you have reached out about one-to-one, or whether it is via my group coaching. I'm actually offering you what I would say is a very good rate for August, 4-week sprint. And I use the word sprint, but I don't mean we're racing. You are able to pick and choose what you want to do within the 4 weeks. You get 4 complimentary trainings from me that I know most business owners will find extremely valuable. Someone reached out to me yesterday evening after a live and said, "Vee, I'm stuck in a rut. I need some help." And I understood exactly what this individual meant. So if you're stuck in a rut, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you don't want to experience August and September going past you, and then you're now in quarter 4, and when October hits, you don't know what you're doing. Because you know October, November, December, that's it. All right? This is not to pressure you. It's just to help some of you realize where you're at and to help some of you think about where you may actually need to take action rather than deliberate and rather than, take long to make decisions. Someone just said in the comments, I can definitely testify to that. Yeah, I do pour into my clients. I do. And a lot of my referrals and my reviews come about because of the way that I work with my clients. So the other thing I'm going to say as I finish is that when I work with clients in a group, they always feel like they're being worked with one-to-one. And I'm not going to go into why that is. You have to experience it to believe it. Yeah. But if you are interested in working with me for the 4 weeks, grab your seat at the table because there are limited spaces. And as I said at the start, depending on if you heard it or not, I did extend my Wednesday deadline. Okay, there was a Wednesday deadline for the early bird. Some of you have messaged me saying, can I still? Yes, Friday the 25th up until 11:59 p.m. Yeah, is the deadline for early bird. Unfortunately, I can't extend it beyond that because it shouldn't even be this rate. That's reality, okay? So grab it early if you can. If not, you can reach out to me and find out about other things that I'm doing. And of course, I've also got my Brand and Marketing Planner 2027. You can order that. You can pre-order that on a discount. And if you're within the Marketing Momentum Club, there'll be a super special deal that I'm doing with the planner and something else that I'm launching that you will absolutely love. So make sure that if you're interested in joining, you reach out. If you've got any questions, you can leave those in the chat. If you are someone who is, in a rut at the moment and maybe you're not ready for the club yet, that's also fine. I hope you've got value from the 5-day series. And the 5-day series is really about you qualifying where you're at and you getting the nuggets you need to take action. Okay, so hopefully it's helped you and you've been able to think about what it is you need to do. And you can let me know in the comments if you thought about something you need to do or you're going to take action as a result of watching tonight. But have a fantastic weekend and I will speak to you soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.